Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Way Up Trading. Today, we'll talk about AMC. I want to talk about AMC. I want to talk about AMC. I want to talk about AMC. It's been around for the last couple of days. You have seen the price action hit areas, hit targets that were spot on. Follow me on Twitter. I've been basically posting the entire play-by-play of what I expected and what I wanted to see, and it's all happening based upon the analysis that was done in advance after we got the drop on the APE signature news, or the lawsuit signature by Judge Zern, and everything has been playing out beautifully off of the spring move on the charts in the Wyckoff accumulation into sign of strength that I'm expecting to start going into over the next several days, with the transfer over from the conversion reverse split in the next couple of days going into the 24th and 25th. Wild time right now. Stock is looking beautiful. It's been up from lows of roughly about 315 that it hit in pre-market a couple days back. We are now up over 40% from bottom. Called out the bottom in advance, told you guys 320. That's hit on the nose, and so on. We have been on the move up as expected and as planned. It's going to get a lot more interesting over the next couple of days if we can start to break and hold above certain levels. Stock is very tightly wound up, and if we start seeing the levels that I think we're going to see, it's about to get real out here. So we're going to go over a couple of different things with the charts, take a look at a few things expect to happen over the next couple of days, how things are going to look going into the reverse split, and we're going to do all of that and more right after this.
Okay, guys, we're going to the moon.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the chart here on the 12-hour time frame for AMC, and this is basically what we're working with. I posted on Twitter. I also made my last video in this regard, just basically laying out where I believe we are in the schematic. This is the Wyckoff accumulation schematic number 1, and basically gives us pretty much the blueprint for how the stock has been moving and how it's set up on the macro time frame, the daily time frame, looking to start to move into its SOS sign of strength area, where things can really get interesting really fast. And this is basically the schematic here that we talked about. We have the triple bottom setup that we already knew we had, with a slight uprise. You can see it on the chart here. I'm going to go remove a couple of things so it's easier and clearer to see. And we did a overlay on this the other day in order to get a clearer vision of this whole thing. But we're going to do side by side instead, just to kind of compare apples to apples here. And basically you can see as of the 8x dividend date on August 22nd of last year. Wow, it's already been a year already. Things started to trickle down here from this. We're going to call that the idea for a preliminary supply, when things really started to change on APE, when the APE dividend was actually put together and released. Waterfalled here underneath our smooth moving average. We have a sell test 1, 2, and 3. We already understood that to be the uprise, which is a mirror image basically of what the schematic shows us here. 3 times touch with a support trading range, a creek, which is this line here. The creek is basically represented by the smooth moving average to the downside. You can see there were several times when the creek was attempted to be broken. When it finally broke the creek, this is the after hours move that we got that was 100% run all the way up to $8 and almost $9 on that move. That is the creek line. Now the creek does extend a little further out to roughly about $8.65. That's the area that if we break it, which is the top of the trading range. If you break the top of this trading range in the SOS phase, I'm seeing us run the $11-12 over a relatively short period of time. $14.04 is one of the upside targets that I have, followed by 28, followed by 30 and change. As far as where we are now, we did get the spring. We are in this phase here. I did talk about this on Twitter, which is the spring phase, where you get a spring down, which is the drop that we got on APE, which is the drop that we got on the signing of the documents by Judge Zern. That was a spring. We came up to retest the bottom of the trading range, which I'll zoom in now to take a closer look. We tested the bottom of the trading range, were rejected slightly, came back, which is where I entered my call position, which I did call out on Twitter. But I don't offer any financial advice. However, I saw an opportunity and I put it out there for anyone who wanted to get involved. Those calls wind up going already over 300% on the ride up. 50 cents. A 50-cent move on the stock gave a 300% return on investment. Not that bad. However, there's a lot more to go, in my opinion, if things go the way I believe they are going to go. So basically right now, where we stopped off, we had another beautiful day. We stopped off with a 7% day on the move. Again, from the bottom, we're up roughly about 40% from bottom at the bounce off of 315. and now are sitting roughly at a close of $4.04. Another target area we called out today, and we did make the final push in after hours, roughly about an additional 5% in after hours, touching 436 before coming back down. Now, what that clearly will do, what it clearly does for us, is it puts us back in range of the general uptrend that we're the uprise, I'll call it, on the triple bottom that we had originally. Puts us back in zone, and now we can start to make our way. Now, if we find support in that area, roughly above 415, that puts us back in zone to get us into a nicer upside. 436 critical level to break. Break 436. I want to see 450 break the same day. So we got that. We got the moving after hours. I'm looking for a 450 to break on Friday. 450 breaks on Friday, and we break to the next level. Fireworks are going to start. Taking a look here from the downtrend, we had a falling wedge that was actually starting up. Volume has increased steadily after the signing. As we can see, volume increased dramatically above the moving average here. We are now breaking back above the downtrend. Not only do we break the uptrend that we had of the partial uprise on the triple bottom, we have also broken above, and with the after hours move, broken above the downtrend from the falling wedge. In addition to that, we are also, with that 436 break, we are also breaking back out of the descending broadening wedge, which has been the main reversal pattern of the bear market. This line, this yellow line here, has been the big area that we've been trying to break for the longest time and have been halted on multiple occasions. With the 436 move, that breaks us again for the second time, for the second time in the more recent history, up out of that area. What that also does is it breaks us out of the macro or the super macro descending broadening wedge. Again, there's a lot of confluence in this area that we're in right now. The super macro descending broadening wedge we were under, this lighter yellow line or this thinner yellow line, we have now broken above that as well, or we're looking to break above it, I should say. So once we break above that, we would now be a full retest of the super macro descending broadening wedge, triple bottom setup with the spring, breaking out of the macro daily descending broadening wedge and looking to break 450 to break the super macro descending broadening wedge and get up out of here. Once you get out of here, that's when I'm going to be really excited to see what comes next. It's going to happen very fast, and I'll explain to you what my levels are in this particular case and what I'll be looking for if we get that move and break above 451 to be exact. Now, I know they in the past, max pain has been something that we've been concerned with, and they've found ways to keep us at max pain weeks on end in some cases, but I feel like this is a little bit different. Patterns that we're set up in, the move, the schematic I showed you, the drop, the volume, how tightly wound up this thing is in this particular area, the patterns as far as the bounce locations and the descending broadening wedges, falling wedges. This zone, it's all come down to here. Break this zone and this thing will fly very fast. I just want everybody to make sure that they're prepared for what's to come. If we get the breaks that we're looking for, this thing is going to move quickly. I'll show you what my break targets are. Those break targets will actually cause acceleration in the stock. The stock will move faster and volume will come in quicker once those areas break. Very similar to what I showed you just a minute ago in the break of the smooth moving averages during that 100% run more recently. A couple weeks back, that area breaking caused a squeeze, and there are multiple locations like I mentioned before, the top location being roughly around the $8 and change mark. So we're gonna go and pull that up real fast. I have it set up already on all my squeeze areas to break. You see these going into the next day or two or next couple of days. If you see these break, expect acceleration and expect a higher, stronger move going into the next couple of days. That will put us in our SOS phase. Right now we're in a minor SOS. When we get to our SOS phase, you'll know it will show a sign of strength that you'll probably see somewhere in the $8 range. The areas I'm looking to break, these are targets more so, but they're areas like I mentioned before, areas to break. So you can note these down, save the video, look at it, snapshot it, but this is the moves I expect to start seeing happening. I want to see volume increasing over the next couple of days. Stair stepping. We had our low volume pushed down on the test of the underside of the trading range, and now we did break through this tightly wound up area here, which was roughly in between the 371 and 392 area. These pink lines are basically my areas of largest resistance, and once they break, each one of these breaks adds another level of volatility. When I say volatility, I mean stronger pushes to the upside. So do keep a lookout on these specific numbers that we're going to be looking for the next day or two. With them moving after hours, we broke the 434 level, 458 and 466. Huge areas to break. Those, again, very tightly wound up within roughly about less than 10 cents apart from each other. Those can break through very easily. 490, 508. 508 is a big one. 508 is just about where we started to break before they dropped the Judge Zern news on the settlement this past Friday. After that, we're looking at 569. 569 would break us through the minor area of resistance, which is also caused by some of the runs we've had in the past. Those runs we've had in the past, which were for the 8 dividend, I have them marked off slightly lighter. I'm going to go ahead and remove the indicators for just a second. A couple of things, just so it's a little clearer. But these thinner lines are levels of resistance that are not as strong as this yellow line that I drew here. Those are subsequent lines of resistance that should play a part in actually allowing us to break through or holding us back for a little bit of time. So in between the areas of about 490 and 569, if we get that high, well, hopefully we get that high. We should probably see a little sideways conditioning or sideways trading for a little bit before gaining enough strength to get up there. But if we do start to see those areas get hit and broken, it's going to move quickly. So between 490, 508, 569, those are going to be huge. 516 and 613 takes us out of the accumulation, and then it brings us into our next phase of getting us out of accumulation and starting to push upward. So 613 is a critical level, but these are your areas of velocity. 569, 613, I expect to move, bounce around there for a little while. You break 613, I'm eyeing 739. From there, $8.68. Like I mentioned before, that is the top of the trading range that this thing has been in for several months. Actually break that area of 868, no doubt in my mind at that point you're going to 12 bucks, 14 bucks, and so on. That will be the full sign of strength, this pattern here. Full sign of strength, a touch, break of the creek, break of the second creek, which is roughly again at about $8 bucks. Again, the first creek I mentioned was roughly at about 569. The second major one is going to be at 739, and then from there 868. You get those breaks through all three of those numbers, you're gonna get the full SOS phase that should hit somewhere around 12 bucks, in my opinion. Come back down, you retrace, you probably come all the way back down to about 739, hold around there, and then from there get ready for the markup. Now the markup phase may not happen all in one shot. The markup phase is where we start to see those higher numbers. 17 bucks, which is the golden pocket of the macro chart. Roughly between 17 and 19 bucks is the reason that I have this rectangle sitting at the top of this range. Also, I have a target date. Still, I guess it's a possibility that this can actually happen a little earlier. I am expecting still this end of September for this move to take place. However, we do need a little bit more time just in case, because of the fact that things were dragged out a little bit longer than I would have liked them to. For the longest time, I've been calling the end of September going into August going into September, that this would start to make the move toward the $30 mark. Still standing by it, but again, I gave myself about a 30-day window additional time, just because of the fact that this dragged out a lot longer than I've seen it drag out. So those are my numbers. Those are basically my targets. But if we do get that full SOS, which I'm expecting, we still have this uptrend that was established over the last several months. Blue line here, you can see that was rejected after that 100% move in after hours, expecting to ride above there, hit $12. Come back down, like I mentioned before, for the backup LPS. But right now, as far as this is concerned, we are looking really good right now. I want to see volume start pushing in the multiple hundreds. 200 volume, 200 million volume. I want to see volume picking up to somewhere in the 200 to 300 million in volume once we start breaking these areas. Once those areas get broken, there's not a doubt in my mind, I know where we're going. Pay attention to these areas. Again, like I mentioned, screenshot these areas. These are going to be the areas for velocity between 458, 466, 490, 508, 569, 739, and then the main one, the one that we want to break out of, which will confirm breaking out of this trading range, going into a sign of strength. Full sign of strength would be $8.68. That's the holy grail at this point. So we'll see how things continue to play out. Look at a couple other indicators, see how things are playing out on that end. Take a look at the volume profile to see if there's anything changing on that end, something that we need to be aware of and continue to watch. As we talked about on live stream, if you haven't caught the live stream, check them out. We talked about the liquidity change, talked about the SPY, blue chips, dumping, which they have been, inverse to the movement on AMC. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Bitcoin, dumping, liquidity pool, We have Evergrande, China, that whole situation all happening at the same time when this is occurring. We have the threshold list, 35, 36 days on the threshold list. Everything is lining up for a move of massive proportions. I'm excited. I'm pretty sure you're probably excited too. It's been a long road. It's been a long time coming, but we're at a point right now where things can get really wild. And I'm ready. I'm ready to see this thing happen. All right, so just taking a look at volume here. This is the daily chart. I'm going to actually go a little closer. Let's do the 23-hour chart on volume. Volume is still right now above the moving average. It's starting to pick up a little bit of steam. It's not exactly where I want to see it, but it is stair-stepping up. Volume on the day was beautiful. I love the idea of the intraday move. We had the harmonic buying that was coming through, stair-stepping up nicely as we're moving higher and higher in price. See this one here, stepping up. End of the day, beautiful green buying volume coming in at the end of the day, and so on. But that's what I want to see, but on a larger time frame, 4 hours, an hour, those areas, in order for things really start getting spicy. So right now we're still looking a little low on volume. I'm not really a fan of what it's looking like on a shorter time frames. Again, we're watching break of 451. That's the one. 451, 458. 460 and change. We start breaking those areas, it's gonna get real exciting real quick. So I just want to start seeing higher volume. I don't want to see, again, we're starting to move up in a smaller volume pattern. I want to see that volume start kicking in real soon. We start seeing that, we start getting those accelerated moves. Yeah, there is a high possibility to want to hold this thing for options to kind of keep some kind of control on. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off. Options at 451 are going to be bonkers. If it breaks 450, 451, 460, yeah, when those options start going in the money, you get a nice move up. A very nice move up very fast. So let's really pay attention. I'm trying to keep my composure here because I'm really excited about how things are going with the stock, and I'm expecting some really nice things going forward over the next several days. Yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there. Containing your emotions. We don't want to be caught like a deer in the headlights like last time around. Make sure if you are in calls or in a position, make sure you are taking your profits because anything can happen. Trim a little bit, hold some runners, and watch out for that move above or below 450. They could try to hold it there, keep it in position, so just be mindful of that. But ideally, I want to see that $8 mark break. We have not broken that creek since January of 2021. This creek breaks, get ready for the squeeze. January squeeze was the squeeze. June was just a markup. But if you caught bottom there, 3,000% move. Right now, in my opinion, we are at the bottom of the next phase. So if you didn't catch it there, your opportunity's here. If you get this SOS move, break the smooth moving average above $8, you're gonna see it get real serious real quick. I'm expecting $12, which is the top of the run back in January. January was a backup SOS to retest the breakout. We'd be back again roughly around the $7 and change mark. From there, you get almost a cup and handle style move just like this. You're looking for all-time highs. $30 is my target, like I mentioned before, which is basically just the retest of the resistance line, where we did a lot of trading in that area. Break that, all-time highs would be next up. So I'm calling 30. 30 still it for me. Just excited to see this thing get going. So there you have it. I mean, I'm pretty excited right now. I don't know about you, but I'm very excited to see what's gonna come out of this whole thing. A ton of different things are happening right now around the economy, the market, you name it. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, Evergrande filing for bankruptcy, SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, that whole situation is blowing up. You got a threshold list, almost 40 days on the threshold list. You have all-time high short interest on AMC right now, above 30%, I believe. The list just goes on and on and on. The blue chips dumping, Bitcoin supposedly being called, SpaceX actually selling off their shares, which I don't buy not one bit because I was able to forecast this based upon what AMC was doing. All in all, protect yourself. Make sure you're watching it. You're watching your positions. If you're in it, be careful. Stay woke. Watch what's happening. Don't be caught with like a deer in headlights on this potential move. It's going to get real in this a little bit. I don't know how high it's going to go, but I know it's going to go. In my opinion, it's a target I talked about. If it goes beyond that, congratulations. For now, pay attention to what's happening with the charts. We're going to keep our heads, going to hold our heads as much as possible, and we're going to make the outcome income. Don't forget to the like button, subscribe if you're not. Join us on the way up. I'm going to be here each and every day, growing our portfolios together, making the outcome income for 2023 and beyond. If you want to be part of the Way Up Trading Group, the link is down in the description. Free trial opportunities there available. Love for you to take a part of it. Doing some great things in there. You already know what's happening with some of the call outs on this particular stock. Take a look and see what else we got going on as well. Catch you guys on the next video. Enjoy the rest of your nights. Let's get this thing going for the next couple of days on AMC. Peace.